Hey guys, Kev here, and I have some cool stuff to unbox from Kansept / Tenable. If you guys aren't aware, Tenable is the affordable brand for Kansept. So we have 4 knives here, Vivid, the Super Hawk, actually it's called the Leviathan. We have a Fenrir Tenable, and a cryo, I almost said cryo Tenable. So let's check out the concepts first. I say we look at the Vivid initially. This is a design from my buddy Jacob Lundquist. And looks like we get some extra springs. So we're looking at an axis lock. I did review the prototypes of these. He was kind enough to send me the prototypes, and I did check those out. So let's take a look here at the production model. There were some things that he and I discussed that would be cool changes for this. One being making the clip reversible, and we'll see what we got here. So really nice. I love the lines right here. That milling is really nice. The clip looks good. Does look like a different clip to me, but I could be wrong. And it has a rear mount, which is interesting. Hopefully they tested that, because we did test something like this before, and with Kubi, and I was putting it in my pocket and the clip bent a little this way, and the head of the screw snapped, because all the pressure is on the head of that screw, because it sits into a recess in the clip. So any tension you put on it to the side or up and down, it's all taking the pressure right on the head of that screw. Looks like it's fine though. We have a great blade shape here, nice Wharncliffe blade, really comfortable. This is going to be a great user, guys. Now I'm a little bit behind on videos, so this has been out for a little bit. So if you guys have one of these, let me know what you think of it. Looks like we have a DLC finish, a legitimate DLC finish, as I understand it. Kansept is doing legit DLC now. I mean, it's hard. I don't even know if you could polish PVD to this level anyway. Just wiped right off. Very, very good. So they are doing a legit DLC. So if you guys remember that prototype I reviewed not too long ago from Javier, that one I guess was legit DLC, or it will be in production. So that's good to know. Now the springs are soft. That is definitely a downside. I would love to see strong springs in here. Now I actually have some. I have a bunch of the strong Kaiser springs because I asked them for them. So maybe I will, nah, I probably won't, but maybe when it comes back from pass around, if I pass it around, I guess I sent the prototypes around, but can't hurt to send the production version, I guess. But once it comes back, maybe I'll swap the springs, and I'll probably keep this because it's a buddy's design. And I love the size, man. It is just perfect in that choil. It just melts into your hand. I mean, it really does. It's probably about the same size as a stout, maybe a little smaller, but feels really similar. Yeah, slightly smaller on the blade, about the same on the handle. And it just has a comfortable feel. I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel at home here. Like, it just feels natural to me to grip this knife. I like the way the spine's coming down a little bit for that warning, and it feels really good. You can see how they sharpened it. Looks like they went a little crazy at the tip, because it's like you can see on both sides. I guess maybe that's normal. Just looks a little bit goofy. Let me zoom in. See that? You guys let me know. Does that look like they did it right, or they went a little too far? I feel like normally you would still see the DLC down at the edge, but I could be wrong. Let me check. I have something here. Yeah, see, like on this knife, that coating comes all the way down. I don't see, maybe at the very end there, hard to focus on that, but could also just be the blade shape difference. So even with the softer springs, I can still flick this no problem. So I don't want to make it seem like a big deal. It works just fine. I just prefer some resistance, if you know what I mean. This would be a great candidate for somebody. Oh yeah, dude. This would be a great candidate for somebody to put magnets inside. So if somebody gave this the winter blade treatment, put some magnets in there, you would have to, you would need a drill press or something and put little pockets on each side and then mount magnets in there. I guess you wouldn't have to. If you were able to keep it centered, you'd probably be able to get away with putting them right on top. But that would let you get a real nice flick on it. But you also have the thumb flick, which again, it works. It's not my preferred feeling. I like resistance, but it works just fine. I'm betting this is a little too easy to, yeah, a little too easy to shake out. So those of you who had the 80-20.5 and complained about how, you know, it would be in your pocket and it would open up. I had somebody tell me they jumped off a table at work and they had their 80-20 in their pocket and it opened up in their pocket and cut them. And as scary as that sounds, my question was, where in your pocket did you have the knife? Because you should have it up against the front seam of your pants, right? Or back, sorry, the back of your pocket. So the blade is against your pocket. It can't open, you know, unless you put a knife with a right-handed clip in your left pocket or vice versa, or you had it in the front of your pocket, it wouldn't be able to open on you. So that should never really be a concern for anyone, unless you're just carrying a knife awkwardly. But still, you want it to have a little resistance there, but it's dead centered. It's really nice, guys. I'm guessing we're looking at tie liners. I get a little bit of something here, but I'm pretty sure it's just the barrel and then the screws. And the clip is obviously stainless steel. The blade, guys, is, well, there you go. You can see I can open the blade with the magnet. Let's see if I can do that with a knife with a detent. Yeah, I can. It overcame the detent. It's kind of fun. I need to find one with like a super strong detent. The fireballs have pretty strong detents. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't really matter, it seems. Okay, now that I've made myself look foolish, let's move on to the next one. By the way, I love the Purple Haze Fat Carbon. That's what this is. Beautiful. The contouring, the feel in hand, the just chamfers and the milling and everything. I mean, Jacob really killed this design. I personally, Jacob, if you're watching, would implore Kansept to make this in a compression style button lock. You would be able to keep the look of it with the button. You just have that compression lock in there, maybe with nested liners at that point, because you wouldn't need the full liners and everything. Or if you can move the design, you know, maybe move it over to Vosteed and do that top liner lock on this. Or maybe just do a you know, bolster lock version or frame lock or a inset liner lock version of this. It would be so good. I just feel like it's let down a little bit personally by the super soft axis lock and the axis lock in general. I just don't love it. I know he's a big fan of button locks and axis locks. The tabs are excellent, by the way. They're perfectly designed. I mean, you really get a great grip on those. So if you are an axis lock fan, then this is definitely a winner. You maybe just want to get some stronger springs, which honestly, if this was like my personal knife, which technically it is, they sent it to me, but I'm going to pass it around, I would just swap the springs out and I'd probably be 90% towards happy with the knife, where I personally would want to carry it and use it every day, but just not the biggest crossbar lock fan. So that's not really a detriment to the knife. That's a personal preference. So there's the Vivid. Excellent. I'll put links to all of these down below, just so you know. It does help the channel if you use my links. So now this one I actually did check out previously. I just didn't show it on the channel because some guys in a group I'm in were asking about it. And so I took it out of the box just to look at it a couple of weeks ago, but I haven't really spent any time with it. It's an absolute behemoth. So just for size comparison, here's that Vivid, which is, you know, a 3 1/4 inch knife, 7.5 overall or whatever. It's not a small knife, but this is a big knife right here. So I think they messed up on the box. It says Super Hawk Designer Leviathan, but I believe this is the Leviathan, and maybe the designer is Super Hawk. I'm not sure. S35EN, and then bronze ano, and you have titanium scale. It says with holes. By the way, the Vivid was in S35 with the DLC, mirror DLC. So really nice. That's probably going to be a great value from Kansept. Getting all that, you know, for whatever they're charging, 200 bucks maybe. So here is the Leviathan. Now this one has a flipper tab and a hawkbill blade. Now I will say the detent is not like super strong. It's fine, but I think they should have went stronger. Now it's a super heavy blade, so that's part of it, but I think I would have liked it to be a little bit snappier, you know. But you can get your finger in there and reverse flick it. You can see it's got this hawkbill. To me, when I first saw this knife, it reminded me immediately of the Something Obscene knife. I forget the name of it, but he has a knife that's similar. It's smaller, obviously, but it's a hawkbill. And honestly, I was like, oh, that's a XL version of whatever that thing's called. So they are similar in design. Very cool, though. If you like giant bruiser knives, if you've been with the channel from the beginning, this really takes me back to the early days when I had knives coming in from my real good buddy, Kyle, DTOM Knives and Gear. This feels like a Kyle knife. And I also had knives coming in from Red Wolf EDC back then. I think he was just listed under his name, Kyle. And his name was Kyle too. And Landfear, Kyle Landfear. He always had these giant knives like this, but they were customs. But it just kind of takes me back to those days. I haven't really reviewed anything behemoth like this since those early days. You have this giant clip. Obviously, this type of knife is not my personal style, but I always like checking out unique and different things. And some of you guys asked me to check this out, so I reached out to Kansept. Very, very cool. S35 Leviathan. There's the maker's mark, which I believe is Super Hawk. Warhawk knives. What the heck is going on? So they wrote Super Hawk. Maybe they meant Warhawk knives. I don't know. It's a 3.9 inch blade. Again, size comparison. Here's a stout. That's pretty much what I would consider an average style knife. Size-wise, sorry. Average size knife. Here's a Lush. Pretty average knives. This thing is absolutely gargantuan. I mean, that thing is huge. That's what she said. I don't have anything close to that big, at least that I can show you on camera, if you know what I mean. Yeah, not a hollow grind. I would have loved to have seen a hollow grind, but this is a flat grind, and it is a tall blade. So if you had say you had some cardboard, I'm assuming with this butcher's knife over here, you could really do some damage. Let's see. Not catch the choil there. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, and it's really comfortable. It's one good thing about large knives is they're really ergonomic in the hand. I mean, obviously the design matters, but having a big beefy blade like this really is good for stuff like this because it's less demanding on your hand. Where even though this is fantastic and it's smaller and slicier, this one's actually extremely comfortable. Hot damn, dude, and sharp. That is nice. My OCD is going a little bananas over this shiny tip here, but after a while with the smaller knife, you might get a little fatigued, right? Because you're really squeezing your hand, and if you have to get through a thick piece, you got to really, shove through there. I'm testing this Lush prototype, Lush V2, and I felt like the jimping here might be a little bit too aggressive. I was really bearing through some cuts, and I noticed that the jimping would kind of hurt my finger after a while. But I don't really think it's the jimping. I think it's just this style of knife. It's a smaller knife. If you're gonna cut, I was cutting like double thick, like, it was like a Power Wheels box, like super thick cardboard box. And I ended up using the Axon fixed blade from Vero. And that was a lot more comfortable in the hand. Actually, no, I ended up using the Milwaukee Fastback razor blade. Just worked a little easier. But this, man, just absolutely devastates that cardboard. So, really cool. If you like these giant knives, has a nice sound to it. Did you hear that? That's another good thing about large knives. You get a really loud acoustic. They did a good job on it, dead centered. I'm sure the clip works well. It's not super strong tension. Yeah, it looks good, man. It looks like a giant custom knife, and I'd say that's a win. So that's the Leviathan. Now let's check out some Tenables. So these are their more affordable knives. And again, I'll put links to everything down below. And they usually, they exclusively take Kansept knives, they're more premium knives, and they will make them more affordable. That's kind of the whole idea behind Tenable. This is cool. So this is the Cryo, and I don't know if you guys know this. If you've been in the knife community long enough, you may know extra springs. I wonder if these are stronger. Man, those look thick too. They might be. Yeah, dude, those are thick springs. So I think they give you strong springs with it. I should check the, well, let me feel this one. I mean, that does feel a little bit stronger than the Vivid for sure, but let me see if they give you strong ones with this too. Yeah, these are thick, man. Honestly, I think they give you strong. I mean, look at those, dude. Those are beefy compared to what I remember seeing and what feels like is in there. So you might not even need to get new springs. You might be able to just put the extra ones in. Anyway, if you guys have been in the knife community long enough, the Cryo is actually the first Kansept knife. This is the knife they released their brand on. It was not a drop point, though. I think what they're going for here is some drop bear market share. That's what I'm getting out of this, is they're trying to take some of that drop bear money. The handle looks familiar. The blade does not. So I think it had a sheep's foot blade or Warney blade of some sort. It did not look like this. So that's kind of cool that they switched it up. And for all I know, they had a drop point cryo. I just never saw it. These are aluminum scales, I believe. And, excuse me, really nice. I like the color. Pretty sure that's hard anodized aluminum. You have a cryo designed by Kim Ning. He's the one who left Kaiser to start Kansept years ago. Man, it's crazy to think about that. That was, what, 4 years ago now, I guess? Something like that. Let me see if I can get the materials on here. It is purple anodized aluminum and 14C 28N 3.59 inch blade. I never really loved the handle design on the cryo. Just wasn't my style, so to speak. I don't like that just angle down there. But it works in the hand. You get this flat here that you can choke up on. The original was a frame lock, I believe. Thumb stud feels good. This axis lock spring feels better. You can see I don't have to wrist it or anything. I can just fire it up. Where on this one, part of it is the hole sticks out from the frame a little bit, but I mean, I can't, oh man, I just got it, but I mean, you can see how that blade is just leaking out of there. Where with this one, it takes a little more resistance. Maybe it just feels super soft on that one. This one feels a little stronger. And it has a much heavier feel too. The blade has got some girth to it, where this one's much lighter, thinner and lighter. So that's part of it too. No clip there for me to grab, but it does have a reversible clip. So if you're right-handed, you'll be able to grab that clip and flip it up and down. It makes operation of an axis lock much easier when you can reverse a clip. That's for sure. So great feel. Bearings feel good. Everything feels nice and solid. We can test this edge since yeah, it's a little bit of a thicker blade stock. You can see that. And it's not as tall of a grind as the Leviathan, so it's not going to go through it like that one does. But it's still extremely sharp, well done. You know, no complaints on that. So that is the cryo. Now let's check out the Fenrir. This one, I'm sure people are excited about. Anything from Greg over at Sparrow Knife Co. is usually always popular. Greg is a good dude and makes great knives, has great designs. And this is the Fenrir. I have a more premium version. I'll show you in a second. Here's a little sticker. Look at that. It's going to go on my kid's sticker wall. She loves stickers. It might be joined here by her in a second. So I can get all this back in the box. So here it is. So you have the button lock in this case, which I'll be honest, if you gave me the choice between a button lock and the crossbar lock, I would take the regular plunge lock all day. I much prefer it over an axis lock because you have the possibility to have a good sort of detent. Much better than a crossbar lock where you're relying on that, you know, like U-cut in the blade and the springs. This is soaked in oil. Now, I would guess that this is not DLC. It looks really good, though, but it's a black wash. And let's see, we have 14C, purple micarta. How about that? Linen micarta there. And a black wash blade, black wash aluminum, 3.45. It does feel good. It's flat scaled, you know, so they're obviously going for affordable here. So they have to, you know, do some things like make it a button lock. They need to flatten the scales, no contouring. So here is the, where is it? I've had this one for a while. This is a left-handed Kansept Fenrir. This is the original design that he did with them, and it's been a huge hit. It's been a smash hit, I would say. I think, honestly, the Fenrir here is what put Greg on the map. So, obviously his custom work, but it introduced him to the production world and a lot more people. And it was a very successful model, still is. Just a beautiful blade shape. And it's kind of funny, if you go back and watch my original video on the Fenrir, when I unboxed a right-handed version, I actually did not love this knife design. And I think the detents were just way too stiff on the first ones. Yeah, I'm saying that, and I love stiffies. So when they came out with these lefties, they sent me one to check out, and man, it really changed my mind. So I have another video basically saying that I changed my mind on this knife, and I fell in love with it. I always liked the design, the look of it and everything, but just the way that first one I had felt being right-handed and just being such a strong detent, I didn't fall in love with it, but now, absolutely. But you can see the difference in the scales. So you'll see there's some contouring here. Obviously, you have that really cool G10. I've never seen anybody do G10 like that. These are just flat slabs. You even have some contouring here as well. It's subtle, but hopefully you can kind of see it. Best way for me to show you is to take a flat object, like let's say this thing right here, and put it on top of the scale. I'll try to show you on an angle like this. And you can see I can kind of do this, right? I can rock it on there. You can see daylight on both sides, and it's just kind of flat in the center, right? But if I do that with this one, it's just going to be flat all the way across. There's no daylight on the sides of the, like right here. You know what I'm saying? Flat. Contoured. So, very cool. I do love the original. Probably still available. And if you're left-handed, they should still have some lefties available. I think I had a discount code. It was like LeftyEDC or LeftyEDC 30 or something. I have a video about it. And you could get 30% off of their left-handed models. So if you're left-handed, those codes might still work. And they have some really cool lefty models like this and the Pelican EDC. And I think there's one other one I really like. But yeah, this is nice. The button feels good. It's got a little stick, but it's not like the annoying kind. It's the it's what I call the reassuring kind, where it's just a little stick to let you know the blade is locked up, which is good, you know, but it's not overwhelming. Like sometimes you get a knife where you have to, you know, shove your hand through to disengage it. But yeah, this is a really well done button lock. I will say that. Kansept is a little behind the game on the compression style lock with button or liner lock with button or some kind of pivot lock. I'm not a big fan of the pivot locks, I think, honestly. But I'd love to see Kansept come out with a compression style lock with the button or something and start making their knives with that instead of a plunge lock, because it's just cooler. But honestly, this is one of the best standard plunge locks I've actually felt, because you'll see here, there's zero play. Like I have no detent lash. Usually on a button lock, you have tons of play. Do I have an example? I really don't like button locks, so it's hard to show you, but there's no play there, and then it feels like a real click out of there. It feels like a real detent, not gonna lie, at least on this version. So whatever they're doing in there with the spring or notch is doing really well. And I mean, listen to that. That's firing out of there. Reverse flick. Oh, see, I was on the button. That's a lefty issue. So right-handed, yeah, feels excellent. And honestly, feels like a normal liner lock or something. And then you have that nice swing down button lock effect, right? That's what people fell in love with these knives, or with button locks. Very nice. Now, I just noticed something. They deleted the flipper tab. So on the frame lock, or the, sub lock, whatever the hell we're going to call this, sub frame lock, you could call it I would call it a reverse bolster lock, I guess. You have this front flipper tab right here that you can get in front of and roll back. You can front flip it. Now, I've critiqued the front flipper tab because they ended the jimping way too soon. I mean, look at that. That jimping should go up and around. But somehow it still works pretty damn well. But they deleted it here. I think it would have worked extremely well. The detent feels, oops, sorry, identical. These thumb studs on the Fenrir, the premium one, they can feel a little rounded. Like they don't have a lot of step, like jimping to grab your finger. So sometimes I'll slide over the top. I just have to remind myself to kind of get under it instead of push on top. Just get under there and it works perfectly. This is a kind of standard thumb stud. So it catches your finger a little better, I would say. I think they did that here because they have the thicker scales with the titanium and then the G10 or whatever on top. So they needed a little bit of a taller stud. If you took these studs off and compared them, I'm thinking these studs are slightly taller. And maybe that's why they're different. Or he just designed some studs. I don't know. But I love this look with the reverse bolster design. It's just beautiful. And so if you're looking to get into the Fenrir and you don't want to spend, $160 or whatever those cost, you can get one from Tenable and it's probably like $60 or something. $70, So let me know what you guys think of all these knives. I'm impressed. I would say, let's see, which one's my favorite? I'm going to say, just because I'm biased and I love, I love Greg and I love Jacob, that the Vivid and the Fenrir are my favorite. But to be honest, they are my favorite. This one's like wildly cool. It's just not practical for me personally. Yeah, that's very nice. Very slicey. And you have a nice blade on there too. It's not quite upswept. It's a drop point or spear point or whatever. So definitely good for all types of use. But this one has the best deployment, I would say. Really fires out of there. I can't believe the button lock has the best deployment. This one has the best ergonomics by far. It just melts into your hand. If you're looking for a great little EDC knife, I think you really can't go wrong with either of these. This one's obviously going to be more affordable, so if that's that's the biggest factor, go with that one. If you don't mind taking this apart and putting the stronger springs in, then I think this one would be a great choice as well. It really does fire out, though, if you just go for it. I mean, so maybe I'm just a little bit nitpicky on that. I just don't like how easily I can, manipulate it out. That's all. Personal preference, perhaps. Let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree, if you think that's personal preference, or if you think that is an issue with the knife. Either way, it's a freaking great knife. So there you go, guys. We have the Leviathan, the Cryo from Tenable, the Vivid, and then we have the Fenrir from Tenable. Links down below. Helps the channel if you use them, but completely up to you. I love you guys. Big shout out to Kansept. Big shout out to Tenable for supporting the channel, sending these out. I will put all of these in the pass around group for folks to check out. And I love you guys. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will catch you later.